Hi, my name is Shreya Modak. I'm a student with Imarticus Learning. Today, we are going to explore the concept of supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So let's start with the basic differentiation between supervised and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning uses a labeled data set. We have to define rows and columns and categories, whereas unsupervised learning uses an unlabeled data set. Let's move on to supervised learning. Supervised learning is the most common data type of machine learning. We call it as supervised learning because it has a target variable as y, which is also called as a dependent or a response variable, and an input variable as x. In supervised learning, we have regression and classification. Let's talk about regression. It's determining the relationship between two or more variables where a change in a dependent variable is associated with a change in one or more independent variables. Means any change in the input variable will affect the dependent variable. Let's begin with an example on regression. If we want to predict the vehicle mileage per liter, which is a dependent variable, we have multiple independent variables with us, like the vehicle make, the model, the year of manufacture, the number of seats, the weight of the cars, and so on. So here we use the tool of regression to determine the impact of the independent variables like the car model, vehicle model, the number of seats, the weight of the car on the dependent variable, that is the vehicle mileage per liter. The second type of supervised learning is classification. In classification, we have a dependent variable in which we have only two possible outcomes, that is, either it will be a yes or no. Let's have an example on classification. If we want to predict if a customer will default in any financial company, then we have multiple input variables like the number of dependents, income of the customer, number of experience in years, and so on. Here, the target variable is yes or no, that is, whether the customer will default or non-default. Classification will be used for determining the relationship between these two variables. Now let's understand unsupervised learning. In unsupervised learning, there is no target variable, that is, there is no y. There are only input variables, that is x, and the training data set is unlabeled. This algorithm is used for finding patterns and structures in the data. An example of unsupervised learning is clustering. Clustering is a machine learning technique which involves grouping of data points. Given a set of data points, clustering algorithm can be used to classify each data point in a specific group. In theory, data points that are in the same group should have similar properties or features. K-means clustering is the most widely used clustering algorithm. Let us have an example on clustering. Clustering is used to recognize communities of people having similar interest on social media. We have various input variables like age, location, page likes for this. One of the key platforms where clustering is used in today's world is Facebook, where it is used to classify people having similar interest. This data is then used for targeted marketing and selling to these groups.